Everyone, I'm Richard Weil, and I am the principal and owner of National Restaurant Consultants, and we welcome you into the NRC Helpful Moment, the 214th edition of the NRC Helpful Moment, and of course, wonderful Mr. Brian Devine. Hello, Brian. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. How about yourself, Richard?
Good. And Brian is with Cafe Fuel and Top Line Management, and Top Line Management is just busy, 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 busy right now with lots of clients and working to increase sales and retain customers all over the country. So anyway, we're delighted that you could join us here today and get our message. Today is really mostly marketing driven, but our message today is, are you using your logo and your branding consistently? Because it matters. Well, I can tell you the t-shirt that Brian has on is protected.
Yep.
It's definitely registered. It's trademarked, which means that logo has to be used consistently for every application that it's utilized, or they'll lose their trademark, or potentially could you lose a trademark. Now, same thing is true with National Restaurant Consultants. Our logo is part of our imagery, our brand, and it is important that you look at your signage all the way into your restaurant, your menu, all your applications that you're using, which could be point of purchase, point of sale, even if you have a point of sales system, your POS system. A lot of POS systems has the restaurant's logo on it. Is it being presented correctly? You might even have a guest presenter, a check presenter that has your logo on it. And of course, Brian's going to talk about all the places and how we use it, from your website, your social media, and everything in between, because it is important that you use it correctly. Now, not every restaurant's going to spend the money to have it trademarked or registered. Okay, I get that. There's a lot of rules and regulations to that. Some of the larger restaurants will go to the problem and trouble to have the logo registered. It's hard to always register or trademark. A tagline is almost impossible unless you have something very unique in terms of your descriptor. So with that being said, make sure you're using the most important thing in your business, and that's your logo and your brand. So Brian, I'm sure you can answer that. Brian?
Thank you for that, Richard. And let's let's kind of just cover the basics here, because I think most people, they probably hear, oh, my my logo, my brand. Well, of course, I know exactly what to do. But let's take a step back, because there's a couple of things that you want to be thinking about, because you can spend tens of thousands of dollars on a logo that doesn't necessarily do you any good, right? There's very little reason to be spending a crazy amount of money on the logo itself. What you want to do is you want to make sure that your logo is consistent across everything that you do, and you want to make sure that your logo has the color version. So if you have colors, that you've got the color. Then you want to have your black or dark version. So depending on the background you might be using it on, and then you want your white version. So if it's on a black background or a really dark background, it can still look good. And there's consistency there. So that means you generally will have three versions. And that's the color, the black, and then the white. And that's kind of just to get things started. And what you want to do is think about how you are consistently representing yourself, not only with your logo, but then now we're talking about brand. And when we talk about brand, and if you ever hear me say branding, what I'm talking about is how you're perceived in the market. And it's not that you're going to be like Mickey, and everyone's going to see your logo and know exactly who you are. But in your local market, if you're doing this right, then that logo and your brand, in other words, how you're seen in the marketplace, will connect. So when they see the logo, they feel like they know you. And that's what we're trying to achieve. And that also means that you can't, make constant changes to how it's perceived, how it's looked. You want to keep things as consistent and persistent as possible. So that also means that it is totally okay to do fun little things, right? If let's say, like with National Restaurant Consultants logo, if during the holidays you want to put like a Santa hat on it, that actually can be very effective, because it causes you to take a second look at a logo that you're used to seeing over and over again. So you can do that at different holidays, different times, or not at all. But the idea, of course, is you don't actually change the logo, just add something to get you to draw attention. And the more you can consistently show that logo that it is connecting to your brand, then you are in great shape. And when, again, the brand is not, it's not that you are spending a huge amount of time, effort, and money on it. It's that you, your food, your service, your location, that is the brand, the overall brand. And the more that you do a great job of connecting with people, the more that logo will connect people to the brand, to your identity. And that's really all that we're talking about. We want to make sure that you are thinking about that. So if somebody says, oh, hey, I'm just going to change the background on your logo here, you might think twice, right? So maybe you don't want to do that. And if you're looking at something and your logo doesn't look right on it, then maybe you don't want to do it. So just really think through that process. And if you always have those three, then it pretty much doesn't matter what the background is. It's going to work. It's going to look good. But that creates that consistency. So I hopefully, we didn't go too deep into the woods, because obviously we can talk about, getting that the trademark. So you have, the TM, where you basically are saying, I'm in the process of getting a registered trademark. And there's a lot of marketing people that will put a TM on everything just in case. I don't recommend that. Okay, if you're not actively trying to get it, don't do that. So yeah, getting a trademark, believe it or not, it takes forever. It's like,
Well, it does, but I'll be honest. We do have clients that have asked us to find trademark attorneys, and we do have a network of trademark attorneys. So if that's important to you, it certainly can be done. It really, and the other thing for those folks that are maybe listening to this or looking at this who are a startup, don't get so crazy with your logo, because the signage that you create out there has to be replicated inside the restaurant. And the cost of creating a custom sign that's so complex becomes difficult, not just for the cost of the sign, but as you intertwine that onto your menu and use and creativity. And we're not saying don't have a unique custom logo. That's not what I'm saying.
No.
But be wary that when you start creating custom colors and custom imprints and offsets and things like that, those things add up. They get very expensive. Again, your creative juices are important. That's not an issue, but you'll want to make sure that you can create something that can go on a sign, can go on a menu, can go on your social media, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, because it all matters. It's all part of that piece that Brian was saying, and that's the consistency of your brand. And if you are interested and you are in need of finding a trademark attorney, please contact us. We're not going to charge you for that resource, but we'll refer you on as we do with a lot of our vendors. So that's what I had. That's what I had. Would you have something else?
I'm curious, when you have a trademark attorney, how long would you say is average to go from engaging a trademark attorney to actually getting the
to get it trademarked 4 to 6 months.
Yeah.
To get it registered beyond that could be a year.
Yeah. It's
a registered trademark, getting it trademarked first and then getting it registered. It can be a lengthy process. Is it ultra expensive? It can be, depending on what your name and what you're trying to fight for. Mm-hmm. The logos are something that you're much easier to trademark. The logo is much easier to trademark than a tagline. A tagline is very, very, very difficult. So, yeah, kind of like a patent. Probably not going to happen.
Right on.
So, all right, that's what I had. Brian, anything else?
I think we've got it covered. Thanks for joining us today, everybody.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.